Mazda may be about to prove that the Carol name does not have to stay confined to Japan's tiny K car segment. The Carol has spent decades as a simple, efficient city runabout, about as far from off-road capability as a car can get. If this concept is any indication, that same compact footprint could carry a genuinely rugged 4WD build instead. This is a concept render, not a confirmed production vehicle, but it keeps the Carol's boxy proportions largely intact underneath all the armor. Front and side. The face swaps to Carol's usual soft, friendly look for something far more deliberate. A blacked-out grille carries bold Carol lettering across integrated LED light pods, flanked by circular LED headlights with a glowing ring signature. A winch sits mounted low in the front bumper, framed by a pair of red recovery hooks, and Carol badging repeats on the front fender in case the rest of the build had not already made the theme clear. The sage green paint against matte black cladding and fender flares keeps the whole build looking purposeful rather than cute, a real shift from a nameplate's usual city car image. A full-length roof rack carries a hard storage case and an integrated light bar, with a ladder running up the rear pillar for access. Multi-spoke black wheels with a bronze accent ring and aggressive mud terrain tires round out a stance that looks nothing like a K car anymore, more compact SUV than city runabout. Rear and side. At the back, a swing arm-mounted spare tire carrier dominates the rear end, built into its own armor housing with a light bar wrapped around the edge. Carol lettering runs across the tailgate alongside an 884 WD badge, confirming this build leans into genuine four-wheel drive hardware rather than just cosmetic ruggedness. Sharp LED taillights with a glowing signature sit low near the bumper, which carries its own light bar and a pair of red recovery hooks. The roof rack and ladder continue their coverage from this angle too, tying the whole build together front to back. Interior. Step inside and the cabin swaps to Carol's usual budget city car trim for something far more driver-focused. A digital gauge cluster sits directly ahead of the wheel, paired with a wide central touchscreen running live navigation, next to a rotational off-road angle display, tracking pitch and roll in real time. A row of auxiliary switches sits below the screen for lighting and recovery gear, with physical rotary dials handling drive modes on the console. The seats and door panels carry Mazda Carol branding on the armrests and floor mats, finished in black leather with subtle tan contrast stitching that keeps the cabin feeling upscale despite the vehicle's small footprint. Engine bay, pop the hood, and this Carol is clearly running far more than its usual small city car engine. A turbocharger sits prominently under a carbon fiber intake cover stamped with a Carol badge and a Mazda logo, fed by braided lines with red anodized fittings throughout the bay. A large front-mounted intercooler and substantial air intake with a visible filter suggests real boost pressure rather than a mild factory tune, a serious departure from the naturally aspirated engines the Carol nameplate has always been known for. Features and capability. What makes this build interesting is how directly it works against the Carol's usual identity instead of dressing up the same small city car. The 4WD badge on the tailgate, the live pitch and roll display on the touchscreen, and the turbocharged engine under the hood all point toward a vehicle meant to be driven hard off pavement, not just parked outside a trailhead for photos. Combined with a winch, dual recovery hooks, and roof-mounted storage, this reads as a genuine attempt to make the Carol's compact size an off-road advantage rather than a limitation. Closing. A K-car size footprint was never going to compete with a full-size SUV on raw capability, but that same small size is exactly what would let a build like this squeeze through terrain a bigger off-roader cannot. Nobody had to stretch the Carol to make this concept credible. The tight dimensions, boxy shape, and simple mechanical layout were already there. All this build did was add real 4WD hardware, force induction, and enough armor to survive using it. If Mazda ever pushes a Carol in this direction, it might finally give a nameplate best known for city driving a reason to leave the city altogether. Subscribe for more custom builds like this.